What are my thoughts on feeling a bit inferior if someone you meet has a lot more followers than you on Instagram? It means very little, man. You can buy a lot of followers. I don't much care for social media, but if I meet someone new and I see the Instagram page, it somehow changes my view of them. If they have like a good page, you feel inferior. You're not inferior at all. Sometimes things just take more time. I mean, for example, let's imagine that you and me are both baking a cake, but I start a couple of hours before you do. By the time you meet me, I will have a complete cake. I might look at you and see all your ingredients are still in the mixing bowl. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have the same thing that I have at the end of it when you've gone through the process. It just means that you're earlier in the process than they are. It doesn't mean that you're inferior to anyone in any way. You eventually may have exactly what someone else has. You may have more, you may have less, but you have no idea where in the process you are compared to them. And anyone that has been through that process will understand and respect you for being within it. If they don't, they aren't the kind of person you want to hang out with anyway. I've literally met people who have asked me for my social media to check if I am important enough for them to know. I mean, they haven't worded it as directly as that, but I know that's exactly what they were doing. They were like, oh, you do blah, blah, blah. Right, well, you know, I do this. Let's have a look at your social media. And I've seen them do it with other people. They look at it and they're like, oh, no, you're not worth my time, and they walk off. So you will meet people who have way more followers than you if what you're trying to do is just, you know, cultivate followers. You will meet people who have more views than you. You'll meet people who have less. Ultimately, it's about entertaining the audience. And if you've got value to the audience, and if the audience are enjoying what you're doing, then keep doing it. And eventually you will find an audience. The sheer do not give a fuck energy makes you cool. You can't win. If you meet someone and you realize that they have a huge amount of authority, power, money, followers, status, whatever it is that makes them intimidating, it's up to them to choose what they do with it. I mean, I've met people who have attempted to use their I've got more than you reality to make me feel inferior, which is relatively difficult to do because I don't particularly care about what they've got beyond are they a decent person, are they treating others well. That's pretty much it. So, yeah, if you meet someone and feel inferior, I totally understand it. I totally get it. It can help to remember that it's then on them to understand, to choose and decide how they want to treat you. And if they want to treat you like you are inferior, don't hang out with them. They're not good people. I check people's Instagram and only make friends with fewer than 1,000 followers. Like, if you're too popular, I don't want to know you. It's not fair. It's not allowed. I mean, I've spoken to people who have ended up being incredibly famous. I didn't personally know who they were, but they were lovely people. I've spoke to people as well, and you tend to find this, it's a really weird thing, who have fewer social media followers, less impact, less clout, if you will, and yet they will act as if they are the most important person in the world. You still need to say please and thank you. Doesn't matter how big, how famous, how rich you get. You still need to say please and thank you. It's not a difficult thing to do, but it's a very, very easy way to spot who you should and shouldn't bother spending time with. That's a saying I heard a long time ago that really fits. The only person trying to be better than is yourself. Yeah, pretty much. Just better yourself from yesterday. Best way to do it. Manners, cost. I have 7 bazillion followers on TwikTwak. I do all the dances. I do all the sponsors. It really doesn't matter, man. I don't like streamers who flex their following and money to others. XQC, for example. Money can... Some people say money can change people, some say it doesn't. I feel that money can definitely reveal how someone wanted to be all along. Like, if you have a hell of a lot of money and you use it to belittle other people, chances are you kind of always really wanted to belittle other people. You just never had the means to do it. And now you do have the means to do it. Money gives you the means to do a huge amount of stuff. If you use that means to do kind of annoying stuff, you were going to do that anyway as soon as you could. Yeah. You can value... well, not value someone, but you can tell a lot about what someone values by who they look up to, who their heroes are. I am glad, though, that, I mean, in the last, what would you say, 5 years, maybe? the discussion about mental health in general has become much more of an accepted discussion. And I will say this, and this may have changed, but I was teaching maybe 5-6 years ago, and one of the changes that I did see is that I was lucky enough to work in some decent schools, and a lot of school kids are much more accepting of talking about mental health than they were in the past. I don't know if anyone has been in college or school recently that can either confirm or deny that, but what I personally saw was that the general student body was more accepting. And I very much liked that. That to me was a really, really positive change. I know that you get a lot of people going, oh, kids these days are so disrespectful. Actually, I saw a lot of understanding and a lot of respect coming from a lot of people. But that may be because, and this is a really interesting thing you just put in the chat, it may be because a lot of kids are just more willing to discuss issues that they find themselves facing because of, whatever various issues people are going through. And social media is an important one. Okay, guys, are we going to... Well, hang on, let's do the boomer thing. I'm going to put a poll in the chat right now. And you guys are going to tell me your opinion. Social media. Was it good? Or was it bad? Was it a good thing? Or was it a bad thing? Now, before we vote, consider all the possibilities for this. Don't 50-50 this. Consider all the possibilities. Consider the fact that it's allowed connections, it's allowed jobs, it's, facilitated romances, it has absolutely connected the world, but have we gained connection but lost connection, if that makes sense? Start the poll. Is Twitch a social media? I'd say Twitch is anti-social media, because we're all sitting inside just doing stuff instead. No one's actually together. If you 50-50 this, I will delete the Switch character. I've given you 50-50 is like exact numbers. I will move all of the rare items off her and then delete the character. Straight up. That'll happen. I will hate you if you do it, but I will do it. I'm a man of my word, if nothing else. Like, I'm not deleting the uniques with her. That would be dumb. But do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? Is it a positive? Is it a negative? That took like 15 seconds to do. Oh, for God's sake. Well, you know what? It's fine. You've got 3 whole minutes. Someone is going to wait, and someone is going to do it at the end. You've tainted the results. This is no longer scientifically accurate. Yeah, because Twitch is the first place everyone comes for completely impartial studies. Again, I was actually reading a really interesting study about, because that's what I do in my free time, because I'm like a super nerd. I was reading an interesting study about the difficulty getting impartiality in studies, and one of them is whenever you study any kind of student, whether it's from primary school, secondary school, whatever, you will get people who answer stupidly on purpose. It's a recognized phenomenon. Why don't you import a very basic caster filter? No, because I don't want to. If your source isn't Twitch, you're doing it wrong. Albert Einstein. That's true. Actually, that's a lie. That was said by Jean-Luc Picard. And 51% of you think social media is a bad thing. Do you, though? Or did you just vote that because that's what you thought would make it 50-50? It's fine. It survives. You don't get to tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me. Social media is bad because I said so. Delete algorithms if social media was a bad thing. I'm so pleased social media didn't exist. Look, every single person did dumb stuff when they were young. Everyone. The difference is that you didn't have it around to... Hang on, Temple. To record doing the dumb stuff. Does it bring out the worst in people? Have people always been bad, but now people can just get more people to see it? I do think that there have always been idiots, but now there are more ways for people to see those idiots. It's almost like that kind of schoolyard bully thing. They just want to be seen. They must be perceived. They must be seen. For doing something dumb without being seen is just doing something dumb. Doing something dumb and being seen, well, that's making content. There was a great essay I watched recently. I am realizing the majority of my life is just watching essays about the difference between content and cinema. Any of you guys watch that one? H-Bomber Guy creates incredibly detailed kind of analytical essays, if you will. I mean, sometimes I make videos and I just think, oh my god, this is just content. Just feed the algorithm. Just get people to watch. Bums on seats was the old theatre word for it. As long as people are looking at you, it doesn't matter why they're looking at you, they just must be looking at you. He does well-researched essays, but more importantly, he is funny. He is very funny. Big part of the issue of social media, if you've joined in for Path of Exile gameplay, I'm sorry. You know, you might get that in the background, but mostly we're just complaining about being old. Is both that the anonymity allows people to be cruel without repercussions. That's very true. That is very, very true. Cruelty without repercussions. People compare their own real lives. Look how great my life is on... Yeah. I was once... And again, this was someone explained it to me years ago. If any of you watch... I mean, I'm not a massive baseball fan, but do any of you watch live baseball? If you've seen live baseball, what you will understand is it's very boring. However, the highlights are amazing. Okay? So watching live baseball as a sport, very boring. Highlights, fantastic. Home runs, you know, brilliant. We all have fun with that. But watching... I expected some better stuff from that drop. Watching it live, boring. When you look at people's Instagrams, people's social medias, people's Twitters and whatnot, what you're seeing is the highlight. You really are. You are seeing the absolute highlight, the best moments, and yet they're presented. And this is what I think really annoys me. Have any of you ever seen social media stars? I hate to use the word, but it is accurate in this tense. Stars present abnormal moments in their own life as if it's normal. And there's an air of bragging with it, isn't there? There's an air of, oh my god, you know, just bought my first Ferrari. Maybe later I'll go and grab a McDonald's in it. Oh yeah, don't worry, we stuck it in the garage next to the Lamborghini. Oh, it's okay, later on we're going to drink some really expensive wine. I've got this big film star coming around, and I'm thinking, do you not understand that everything you said is incredible? Like, this is massive. And the crazy thing is, to them, it probably is massive as well. But by presenting it to the audience as if it's mundane, they're almost making it hyper-real to the point where you're thinking, holy crap, if this is mundane to them, what the hell is excessive? What is impressive? That's what it is. I very, very much, it very much irritates me when people present, because like when I went to Bulgaria, we stayed in a hotel in Sofia. The hotel, I believe, was called the Grand Millennium Hotel. It's insane. It is so nice. And yet there were so many people around just going, oh yeah, this is normal. This is normal. It's not fucking normal. This is insane. And to present it as normal shows how out of touch a hell of a lot of people are. I think that's what it is. It's the out of touch nature for it. It's the out of touch nature, man. I mean, I have friends who are like, oh, you should watch this influencer, watch this YouTuber, watch this TikTok star, watch this Instagram person. And I watched it and I'm thinking, their life is insane. And yet they present it with this most boring thing. Do you think it has become cool to not think anything is cool? Like, if someone shows me something that's really cool, I'm like, that is amazing. I'm like a kid in a sweet shop. You know, if anyone that's met me at any kind of convention that shows me something cool will confirm this. I am so excited and so happy for people when I see something that they've created, that they've made, that they value, that they think themselves is cool. I love that stuff. And yet I see so many people who go like, oh no, don't express any emotion. Don't say that's cool. That's wrong. That's cringe. That's totally cringe. I'm hoping that we're able to almost loop back round to a society that is totally okay with expressing interest in things.